do it. And besides, even if they do what they say they want to do, it doesn't cut anything. They have what they call projected budgets over the next 10 years, and they automatically go up by the trillions of dollars. If you do nothing, the spending will go up like $10 trillion over the next 10 years. And automatic expansion. So what those cuts they're talking about, if you cut $1 trillion, they're talking about forcing $1.5 trillion a cut. Well, that's over a 10-year period of the proposed increases, and nothing starts until 2013. There's nothing to do with cutting. So my proposal is a little different. I want to cut $1 trillion 1 year, the first year, and get back to a balanced budget. You would have to change, a matter of fact, a new generation, we as a people, we have to change our attitude about what the responsibility of government is. It's not there to tell you how to live, not here to police the world, not here to run the economy. It's here to protect our liberties. But today, we're doing all the things that we should be doing, and we ignore the things we're supposed to do. We're supposed to have property rights, protect property rights in contract. We're supposed to have honest money, but we protect the Federal Reserve, secrecy of printing money. So we have a government that's doing the wrong things. We have to decide what the role of government be. If there's any one question you have to ask yourself and think about what the answer is what should the role of government be? The founders were very clear. The role of government was to protect liberty. But today, the role of government is to take care of everybody, redistribute wealth, print money, run up debt, regulate the economy, to tell you how to live, what your personal habits should be, and what you can do with your own body. And also, to tell everybody around the world what to do. So it has led to this crisis, economic crisis, where we've been in the doldrums for 4 years, and we won't get out of it unless we change our ways. So therefore, the cuts. Where are we going to get the cuts? People get worried when I talk about $1 trillion cut. They're scared to death. They might get cut. But believe me, if you're willing to accept responsibility for yourself, you don't have to sacrifice anything. You get your freedom back. You get the government out of your life and off your back and out of your wallet. You get to keep what you earn. That's not a sacrifice. But there would be a change. First, we have to change our foreign policy. We have to change it and follow the advice of the founding fathers. They said that we should have a policy of friendship and trade with anybody that would accept it. We should talk about diplomacy and getting along with people, but not getting involved in internal affairs of other nations, and not getting involved in international government entangling alliances like United Nations and NATO. Follow the Constitution. Never go to war without a declaration of war. Exactly. And if you have to go to war, go in, fight it, win it, get it over with.
Exactly.
Some people get frightened by that and say, oh, you don't care about national defense. The truth is that's what I really care about, because that's a #1 priority, is to have a strong national defense. But spending money in places like Libya and Egypt and Afghanistan and Pakistan and Iraq and endless wars on, and keeping troops in Korea and Japan and South Korea and Germany, that has nothing to do with our national defense. It just drains our resources. So my goal is bring the troops home. Bring them home. Hundreds of billions of dollars doing that. You know, today they announced that there would be some cuts in the Army personnel. That's a little scare tactics to make people think, oh, they're slashing the budget, which they're not. But if you just take the embassy in Baghdad, you know, they say we're leaving Iraq. We built the biggest embassy in the world. It's in Baghdad. It cost $1 billion. And they just got authorization to put 17,000 Americans working in Baghdad in the embassy. But they're going to be contractors making twice as much money as the military are making. Tell you what, for you to be free and prosperous and to set a good example to the world, we don't need an embassy as big as the Vatican in Baghdad. We probably could do it with a small office. It's what I think we ought to have. Changing our foreign policy would allow us to save a lot of money, bring the troops home, save all the tremendous burden. What a burden that we've had during this last decade. We added $4 trillion to our debt. We've lost 8,500 Americans, 44,000 severe injuries, hundreds of thousands now begging and pleading for help from the Veterans Administration, which they can't get. We have now an epidemic of suicide among both active duty and people who have come home. And it's the policies that are bad. This isn't because these are weak people. It's because they're suffering the consequences of a war that is not well devised, and we're not quite certain why we're there. So we can save a lot of money, be a lot safer by doing what I'm talking about, and we would be conforming with the Constitution and the strong advice of the founders. The other thing is we can cut some departments. I have 5 departments that I would cut, and I would go back to the 2006 budget level, which would, reduce it, because our budget is growing by leaps and bounds. So we could do this, and I'll tell you what, there would be an adjustment period that probably last a year. But we're already into the 4th year of this adjustment, and there's no sign there's economic recovery. Japan's been doing it for 20 years, and we did it for 17 years in the Great Depression. So you need a different philosophy on economics, but really it boils down to this simple thing of understanding liberty. It's your life, it's your liberty, it's your property, and the government's role should be to protect that. Presidents aren't supposed to run the world. Presidents aren't supposed to run your lives. The president's not supposed to run the economy. That's up to you. The responsibility is on you to run your life. It's on other people in other countries to run their countries, and certainly it's the responsibility of us as savers, investors, and planners to run the economy. Economic planning is part of a socialist system. It always fails. And we've had a pseudo-socialist system called the welfareism and interventionism, but it's a privileged system where the special interests, benefit. They get the benefits when you have an economic boom, and when they get into trouble, guess what? They get bailed out. The middle class shrinks. The one thing about a free society, you have a huge middle class. Our middle class is shrinking. There's a wealth transfer from the middle class to the wealthy, where these programs are designed are supposed to help the poor and give everybody a house and free medical care. Well, guess what? They don't get either. They don't get good educations, and they get a lot of debt. So we need to understand that if we do these things, it's a benefit. It's not harmful to us, and it isn't like it's totally strange. All we have to do is think about, a free society, our Constitution. It's not radical. I think the people who look at what I say and they say, oh, that's extreme. Well, why isn't it extreme that somebody has a deficit of $1.6 trillion in 1 year? What isn't extreme about, oh, I need money, I'll just print it? I mean, that's a weird idea. I mean, who actually believes that's going to work forever and ever? So this idea that deficits don't matter and keep spending and that we can do all these things, we have lost faith and confidence on how freedom works. Where I'm really excited is when I visit the college campuses and young people like you here, is that you're willing to listen and think about it and renew this spirit, because it's not going to come easily. It has to be a change in people's attitudes. If I'm to be elected president, I can do a whole lot, but I cannot change the country. The country has to understand what is necessary. You have to get support from the people. People have to assume responsibility. If they think the end of the world will come if the government doesn't take care of them, this thing isn't going to work. But this is where I'm optimistic. There is a renewed spirit, a renewal of the belief and the conviction they understand about what liberty is.